What's up, light bearers? Welcome to Light Tap, a Viviset podcast. My name is Melissa.
And I'm Emily.
And today we're talking about
Damascus.
Today's Bible verse, we're going to be reading about Paul. And before we get there, we just want to do a little disclaimer. You might hear some noises going around. Maybe a lawnmower. Maybe some clavos, some hammers, whatever else. I mean, this is life.
Can't control everything.
And so just excuses for today. But, it's just, again, part of life. Another disclaimer that I want to give is that to remind you guys that this is a light tap into this topic. Remember, we are going to read scripture and we're going to talk about scripture, but we're also going to talk about how we are applying this scripture to our lives, or how we, like, something that reminded us of this, that, it's something that we can compare it to. And so if you're looking for like a deep dive Bible study, this is not it. But you can do that at home. This is a perfect time to open up your Bibles and get your study on.
Bible study, anything like that,
Ask the Holy Spirit to reveal himself through his word to you directly. So again, this is just a light tap. Okay, today's Bible verse. Before we get there, I actually want to talk about what's happening before we're reading, right? So I think if you have read the Bible or if you've been in church for some time, you probably know about Paul.
Yeah.
His name used to be Saulo.
Yes.
In Espanol.
In English, Saul.
And he, before he was a good person, he was a bad person.
Very bad person.
In the way that, literally he persecuted Christians. If you were a Christ follower, you were on his target list.
It was almost like a hit list.
A hit list.
It was literally a hit list. Like, literally, yes. It was a hit list. Yeah.
And if you were on that list, your life was going to be terminated.
Yeah, you were being persecuted, basically.
And so this is what he would do. This is what he would dedicate himself to, like going and following Christians, like Christ followers, and making sure that they were no longer in this earth. And so he's doing this and he thinks that he is doing a godly thing. Yeah. He thinks that he is like...
He legit thinks that he's in the right. He doesn't think that he's
like,
wrong.
Oh, God is so proud of me right now for doing this. And then we are at Damascus. And this is where our Bible verses start. And we're going to be reading out of Acts 9, 3-12. Emily will read it in English, and then I'll read it in Spanish.
Okay, it states, as he neared Damascus on his journey, suddenly a light from heaven flashed around him. He fell to the ground and heard a voice say to him, Saul, Saul, why do you persecute me? Who are you, Lord? Saul asked. I am Jesus, whom you are persecuting, he replied. Now get up and go into the city, and you will be told what you must do. The men traveling with Saul stood there speechless. They heard the sound but did not see anyone. Saul got up from the ground, but when he opened his eyes, he could see nothing. So they led him by the hand into Damascus. For 3 days he was blind and did not eat or drink anything. In Damascus there was a disciple named Ananias. The Lord called to him in a vision. Ananias, yes, Lord, he answered. The Lord told him, go to the house of Judas on Straight Street and ask for a man from Tarsus named Saul, for he is praying. In a vision, he has seen a man named Ananias come and place his hand onto him to restore his sight.
In Spanish, Hechos 9, del 3 al 12 dice, ya estaba Saulo por llegar a Damasco, cuando de pronto desde el cielo lo rodeó un gran resplandor como de un rayo. Saulo cayó al suelo y una voz le dijo, Saulo, Saulo, ¿por qué me persigues? ¿Quién eres, Señor? Preguntó Saulo. Yo soy Jesús, respondió la voz. Es a mí a quien estás persiguiendo. Pero levántate y entra a la ciudad, que allí sabrás lo que tienes que hacer. Los hombres que iban con Saulo se quedaron muy asustados, pues oyeron la voz, pero no vieron a nadie. Por fin Saulo se puso de pie, pero aunque tenía los ojos abiertos, no podía ver nada. Entonces lo tomaron de la mano y lo llevaron a la ciudad de Damasco. Allí Saulo estuvo ciego durante 3 días y no quiso comer ni beber. En Damasco vivía un seguidor de Jesús llamado Ananías. En una visión que tuvo, oyó que el Señor Jesús lo llamaba. Ananías, Ananías. Señor, aquí estoy, respondió. Y el Señor le dijo, levántate y ve a la calle recta. En la casa de Judas busca un hombre de la ciudad de Tarso. Se llama Saulo y está orando ahí. Yo le he mostrado que un hombre llamado Ananías llegará a poner sus manos sobre él para que pueda ver de nuevo.
There's a lot to break
unpack,
down.
yes.
Yeah, there's a lot to break down in just this specific story that
Yes.
we're seeing here, right?
Yes.
And I just want to notice real quick, I feel like I'm having deja vu. I feel like I've said this before.
Okay.
I don't know if you said this in another podcast or
Okay.
not, but if we're reading on Acts 9:5, verse 5, it says, Saul said,
Yes.
I said this before, right?
Yes.
It says, who are you, comma, Lord? It's almost like he's like, oh my God, is this the Lord? So it's like, he subconsciously knew.
Yes.
Have I said this before? I
Yes,
feel like
in
I've
our
had.
recent episode, our first episode ever. Yes, we talked about this. This was Paul's reset.
Yes.
And in that episode, we talked about the reset, but we're talking about the name of this podcast or this episode is DeMasking.
Yes.
And we wanted to bring this up because we have talked about this, right? Sometimes we feel like we are doing godly things, but we're doing them without God.
For sure.
And we need to demask our little traje
Yeah.
de cristianos.
Like this little like persona that we built of like the perfect Christian person. Yeah.
And it's so easy to do this on social media now.
Oh yeah.
Porque in social media, I could be like, me pongo the mask of like the perfect Christian who reads her Bible every single day,
Goes
who
to
prays,
church every Sunday.
who is like so involved and so active.
Yeah.
And as soon as the camera turns off,
I'm back to my old lifestyle. I'm back to going to parties or
living
clubs or
it up
whatever.
however I want to live it up.
Yeah.
And so in today's episode, we want to talk about demasking us. We don't want some fake Christianity. And do not get me wrong when I say this. I don't mean that, again, like you have to live by rules. Absolutely not. But I think that once you have a revelation of who Jesus is, once you have an encounter of who Jesus is, then it completely changes your life.
It's almost like how you say like this is kind of like your lemma. Like this is your, how do you say it in English?
My motto.
Your motto. Like you need to have like a come to Jesus moment.
Yeah.
And until you do, you can't really demask yourself.
Yeah.
Because you literally feel like you're almost like Saul here. That you feel like you're doing the right thing. You feel like, oh, like God will be proud of me. I am doing what I'm supposed to be doing.
Yeah.
But sometimes if we don't do them with the right intentions, or we feel like, oh, I'm doing this for me or for other people to seem like the perfect Christian, then you're not doing the right thing.
Yeah, you're not
because
doing
everything
nothing.
that you're supposed to be doing is supposed to be for God's glory.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Everything that you do, you're supposed to be for God's
And
glory.
until you admit that to yourself, you can't really demask yourself.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so here, like we see at the beginning, he was like on his journey, right? We're going to Damascus and it's going to be like a great journey. Here we are going to persecute more Christians. And in the middle of that, on his way there, Jesus is like, hold up, homie.
Yeah.
Wait, let's pump the brakes. Stop.
Take a moment.
And then he's like, Jesus comes to him and is like, why are you persecuting me?
Yeah.
Not my people.
He said, me.
Why?
Oof. That must have hurt.
Exactly. When you think that you are doing things
What?
for Christ.
I'm not persecuting you. I'm doing your work.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Imagínate like tú, okay, right? You
Yeah.
serve in the children's ministry.
Yes.
And imagínate que tú, you're like serving away. And you're like, oh my God, I'm making Jesus so proud of me. And all of a sudden, Jesus comes up to you and is like, Emily, why are you persecuting me?
Oh, my heart.
Exactly. I'm pretty sure, like, if I was Paul, I would be like,
Yeah, because,
what?
okay, so, going back to the example of me, right? If God came and told me that, my purpose of being a teacher in the children's ministry is to talk about God with these kids so they can build a relationship with God.
Yes.
That is the purpose as a teacher.
To have a solid foundation.
Yeah, to have a solid foundation that
Yep.
they can bounce back on, to be able to build that relationship with God. And for God to come and tell me, why are you persecuting me? Are you telling me that all the work that I did before
Was wrong?
was for nothing, was wrong? As in, like, I have not been saving lives. I have not been trying to have these children have a relationship with you. I've actually been leading them the wrong path. How many countless kids before? Yes. Oh no.
Yeah.
That would be the
devastating.
End. That would be devastating.
Well, no nos vayamos muy lejos. It happened to us.
Yeah.
So we're close to our 1 year anniversary,
yes.
and we'll have another episode with another guest.
Yes.
But basically, when we started this journey of Vivid Set, because it has been a journey.
It has been a journey.
You know, we really, obviously our mission is to share Jesus. We believe that he has called us to be the salt and light of the world, and we want to do that. And we want to do that through different platforms.
Yes.
Obviously, we have an apparel brand. That's how it started. But throughout this year, I have felt to do other things than just to sell clothes.
Yeah.
That's not only what I wanted to do. I didn't want to speak. I think I've talked about this in another episode. I didn't want to talk, but God had other plans.
Yes.
And here we are. We have a whole podcast. I just wanted to do clothing, and here we are. We are going to do community outreach eventually. And so we started doing stuff like, okay, as any business, how we're going to get the word out there that we have a business.
Yeah, this is the goal. How are we going to get there?
And so obviously, like back in the day, it was like billboards and paid ads in the newspapers and magazines. Now it's different. It's social media.
Yes.
And so we know from experience from being on TikTok, you'll see, like, if you follow the hashtag small business, you'll see that a lot of people started going viral through TikTok.
Yeah.
Making TikTok videos through different trending sounds and different trends in general, like challenges or whatever. So we started doing that.
Yeah, little trends here and there, using viral sounds that we felt would go with what we were trying to convey.
Yes. But our focus was to just go viral.
Yeah.
We did care about everything else, but the number one spot or the number one focus,
I think,
was just like,
we were
have a big
on
reach.
The numbers.
Yes.
Yeah, we were focused on the numbers.
We would post
like
and
check and see how many likes or how many new
views
followers or
and,
views,
like,
things like that.
What was the data behind it, right?
Yeah.
And then one day, in the middle of our 30 days of fall outfits.
Yes. We were like, you know what? We're not even going to finish this 30 days. We're going to start right here. And I was like, everything. Really? Oh my God. Like, we still have like all this content that we need to put out. And she was like, forget the content. We're not doing that. We're erasing everything. And I'm like, oh my God, all our hard
work of like hours of like filming photo shoots and everything else, like hours of like coming up with stuff, like frustrating times, like meetings where we were like, what are we gonna do next, and all these things, right? And all of a sudden I really felt like, no, you did everything wrong, and so you need to delete all of that.
Yeah.
And it was hard.
It was hard
because I was
trying
doing
to like restart and rebrand yourself.
Not only that, it was just like, no, but like I was doing everything for God. What are you talking about, Lord? This was for you. But in my heart, it wasn't. In reality, it wasn't, and he saw it. In the same way, Paul was like, I'm doing this for you, Lord.
Yeah.
And Jesus is like, no, you're persecuting me, and you're killing me.
Oof.
And that's not okay. And then, you know, it's funny because there was other people who saw it happening and who heard it happening.
Yes.
And they were like, what is happening? And I've had people, when I posted on social media, like, what was the hardest thing? I think we did like a Q&A, and one person asked, like, what was the hardest thing that you had to do? And I said, delete everything. And another person was like, why? Why did you delete everything? Like, what made you think that you did it wrong? And so, like, they were, like, seeing what happened, right? And they were trying to understand, but it was for us to open up different kinds of eyes,
Mm-hmm.
just like Saul did. His physical eyes were closed.
Yes.
Because it says that he got up, his eyes were open, but he could see nothing.
Yeah. He was blind for 3 days.
For 3 days.
Yeah.
And it was crazy because I mean, I've read this story before, but I never paid attention to this other part where it says that for 3 days he was blind and did not eat or drink anything. He didn't have to fast.
But he did.
But he did.
Mm-hmm.
He was like, wait a minute. I just had an encounter with Jesus. He told me that I have been messing up. That what I thought was godly is not. I'm blind, physically blind.
Mm-hmm.
But my spiritual eyes are open.
Yeah.
And because I'm in tune with this spiritual encounter, I'm going to go ahead and continue that and strengthen that. And so I'm going to go ahead and fast for 3 days because I need this connection to be solid.
Yeah, because now, not only did he have this encounter, right? Like, you don't just stop at that one encounter. Okay, now I've been told, I've been corrected. How do I use this and try to better my life and change my position? People don't change overnight. You can't change somebody's mindset or their opinions or their thoughts just like that, just because, oh my God, I had this emotional, spiritual connection with God. Things are going to be different now. No, now you actually had to put the effort in.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like, yes, you will be changed, but the change doesn't come just by having that interaction. That change has to that change has to actually be physical. Like, you actually have to do something to get to wherever you need to be.
Yeah. And so in this case, Saul
fasted.
Mm-hmm. He was like, my connection needs to be solid.
Yeah.
He knew that he was gonna see again. He knew it.
Yeah.
And he knew it because later on Jesus tells Ananias, like, hey, he already knows that you're coming to restore his sight. So that means that he knew. He was like, but before my physical eyes are open, my spiritual eyes need to be solid. And it's crazy that Ananias, Jesus tells Ananias, like, which is a Christian, a Christ follower, like, hey, go put hands on this man.
And he's like, wait a minute. He was just killing people literally this week, and you want me to go see him? Well, hold up, wait a minute. But he was like, okay, like, Lord, I'm here. I'm listening. You want me to go? But like, I know you know what I'm thinking about.
Yes.
Literally in that same week, he was like, he literally 3 days ago, he was over here killing somebody, and now I have to go see this man.
Yeah.
Literally, okay.
Like putting my life on the line.
Yeah.
But will you do that though? Will you put your life?
God has called us to go do something, whether we fear for our lives or not, are we gonna ignore that calling?
Yeah. Heart check.
Yeah.
Heart check right now.
Oh my gosh.
And so he goes, and Saul's vision is restored, and from then on, we know this new person called Saul. Paulo. No, Paul.
Paulo.
How do we say it in Spanish? Pablo?
Paulo, I think.
Paulo? I don't remember in Spanish, but I know that in English it's Paul.
Yeah.
And obviously he does so many things for the church. And he goes and he preaches to different places and things like that. And it's just amazing to see like what an encounter does. And so this whole conversation started because, again, we want to encourage you guys that as you walk with Christ, in this journey, you just have to walk, right? You don't know fully all the time if you're doing the right thing or not.
I think during our walk with God, right, we also need to like not so much kind of like more like do a heart check, do a self-evaluation, just like how you would go to the doctor every year and get a physical. Am I doing okay? Do a heart check, or maybe instead of every year, maybe every 3 years, every half year, right? And be like, okay, do I have the right mindset for this? Am I doing these things with the right purpose? Am I pleasing God, or am I pleasing people?
Am I keeping the same energy?
Yeah.
Everywhere I go.
Because if you're not and you don't check yourself in time,
you
might have long-term repercussions to come with this. Saul lost his eyesight for 3 days.
Yeah.
But what if he didn't listen? What if he had not? What if he would have been like, this can't be, like, no, like I've dedicated my whole life to this. Why should I stop now?
Yeah.
And if he just didn't listen,
he would have been blind forever. Yeah, for sure.
I think a lot of people don't think about that. I know I personally don't really think about it unless it's talked about in church, or if I'm doing like something big, like I'm doing an event. I'm like, okay, am I doing this with the right purpose? Am I doing this with the right heart? Because I never want to like go out there and be like, oh, I'm doing this because I feel like I have to.
Or yeah. Because you have to, because people are looking at you, because you have to, because you think it's the right thing to do, but you're not feeling it. You don't believe in it. Like again, like this title of this episode, like demasking us. Like take off the mask. Yeah. Be you, like who God made you, and that relationship that you have with Him, like everywhere you go.
Exactly.
But like don't just be a Christian just for views and likes on social media, or like in front of your friends just so you can get in a crowd or whatever. Like no, like be you everywhere you go. Make sure that you are sharing Jesus everywhere you go, and that is what our mission is with Vivid Said, with Light Tap. That we want to make sure that this conversations, it doesn't just happen like in front of this camera, in front of this mic. Like it happens even like when we're off.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? And so like demask yourself from like having to put that on and like, okay, here I am going to church. Let me put on my mask on of like how holy and connected I am with Christ. But then you come home and you're acting a fool.
It's a whole different story.
Yeah, like make sure that when you get to heaven that you hear like buen siervo, fiel, and I don't know what else it says, but like come on in. Instead of hearing like, I don't know you.
Oh my God. Can you imagine?
No, don't even. Like, that's like so scary. No joke. Like that is so scary.
Having to hear God like, like, oh my God, like I did all these things, and then go to heaven and God's like, I don't know you.
And you're like, exactly. And you're like, wait a minute, but I did everything. No, you didn't.
No, you didn't.
You persecuted me.
Yeah.
You thought you did, but you persecuted me. So it's a heart check.
Yeah.
It's a heart check.
I think a lot of people, especially in the society that we live on now, a lot of people focus on an image. They focus on what they're supposed to look like or what's socially acceptable. Yeah. And that applies to Christianity as well. A lot of people feel like Christianity has to be portrayed as a certain form, that they can't really step out and do anything different or speak a certain way because it's not considered appropriate. So they'll put on this mask of what they feel is appropriate, instead of actually being like, no, this is not right. Yeah.
Yep. I completely agree. And so we're talking about masking. We're gonna go into our next segment of this podcast, which is Am I the Asshole? Okay. So Emily.
Okay. So the title for this one is Am I the Asshole for Laughing at my grandpa after he told me to cover up my feet?
That's a funny thing. Like, I would laugh. I'm like, it's just feet. What are you talking about, Grandpa?
TMI, a little personal here.
You hate
I hate feet. I'm sorry. I hate feet. It's I don't, okay. Obviously, like, you can see my reaction. I don't like feet, period. I don't know why. Don't ask me why. I hate open-toe shoes. I don't want to see your freaking toes. I don't want to see your feet, period. Unless I'm very, like, I have a personal and close relationship with you, I'm okay with seeing your feet.
I mean,
I don't even have a choice.
You don't have a choice.
Exactly. But if I'm hanging out with, like, an acquaintance, put on some socks. Like, rarely will you ever see me without some socks.
I know,
but I do. I like my. I would say I have very pretty feet. Like, they're normal. I just don't like other people's feet. My feet, right? And
you don't want to see other people's feet.
I'm okay with my parents. I'm okay with close friends. If I'm at a random party, if I'm at the beach.
So wait.
It's so weird. If I'm at the damn beach, hell no, I'm putting on socks. I'm walking around with socks. No, for real. And now if I'm in the sand, I'll take them off. But my feet will go into the sand unless I feel comfortable. I don't know why. I don't know when this started. Okay. I just know that I don't like feet. Okay, and deal with it.
And you feel really passionate about
clearly. Okay. It's almost like an intimate thing to me. Like if I'm hanging out with you, really? No, for real. If I'm hanging out with you, if I'm hanging out with you, like let's say, like we're not really touchy-feely. We're not.
Yeah, we're not. Don't touch
me. Rarely will I lie on Melly. Rarely will I like lie on her and be like, it's just taking up. Or if we're just hanging out, or I'm looking at her phone and she's like, look at this.
That's when we get close to each other.
With my other cousin Melissa, because I have two very important Melissas in my life. With my other cousin, she'll lie, or I'll lie on like her lap, and she'll lie on my lap with like her feet on one side, and I'm okay with that. But don't let no damn girl that I don't know, or like not even like a boyfriend, unless we've been in a long-term relationship. I don't want you near me with your feet. So it's a very intimate thing to me. I don't know why.
I see that you have a thing with me. Okay, I love this story for today. Okay, back to the question.
Okay, so
am I the asshole?
Do you feel like she's the asshole because she laughed at her grandpa?
A saber que le hizo grandpa. Why is the grandpa telling her to cover her feet? No, like I'm gonna laugh. It's better than am I the asshole for going off on my grandpa for telling me to cover my feet? Yeah.
And don't get me wrong, I would understand if it was more like a cultural thing. Because I know in some cultures, out of respect, people don't show themselves, like women specifically, they don't show their attributes. Except for their husbands or like their kids, things like that. But I see that, like I follow some people and they talked about it and it's a sign of like respect. Yeah. You know, and I understand that. But if it's not about that, if it's just a preference, like that's a little bit weird to me. Even to me. Yeah. I'm like, Okay, so let's read it. So it says, so this one is fairly recent and he's still mad at me. So I decided to voice the story in hopes of getting corrected if I'm wrong or something. So this morning, my grandparents informed me that some people would be coming to set up a new bed frame. Since I wasn't needed, I just sat down on the sofa and minded my business. I asked if I should help, but I wasn't needed. For context, I was wearing a normal t-shirt and some leggings, but no socks. This will be important later.
Oh, God.
However, during the visit, my grandfather kept furiously pointing upstairs. Apparently, he didn't want to tell me what I needed to do, but expected me to magically know. Don't all parents do that, though?
Exactly.
They just want you to read their minds, know what they're thinking, and act on it. After looking at everyone wearing masks, I assumed he wanted me to wear one. I was pretty far away from everyone, so I didn't think it was necessary. After I got up and put it on, he seemed even more furious. I kept asking him what he wanted me to do, but he refused to speak. After the guy and the girl finished building the new bed frame and left, we sat down and talked a bit about the new bed, what happened, etc. That's when I mentioned being confused at what he wanted me to do. And he promptly told me that it was vulgar for me to display my feet the way that I did.
Jesus.
Faced with the absurdity of the situation, I laughed, imagining how the two builders would say, OMG, look at how hot this girl is because of her feet.
Hey, you never know.
Hey,
the people that
if you're into that, that's your choice, okay?
Yeah, sure.
My grandfather then joined in, laughing with me about my My grandmother then joined in, laughing with me about my seductive feet with the power to make any man horny. My grandfather, however, exploded, saying that it was indecent / disrespectful to be at home without socks in front of strange men. He's currently still mad at me for showing off my glorious feet in front of strangers. So, am I the a-hole for laughing at my grandpa for covering up my indecent feet?
No. She just laughed. Grandpa. Do you have a thing for feet, Grandpa? Because something
sometimes the things that we are offended by, there's a reason why we're offended by
Exactly.
It
affects us in a way.
Why are you so touchy-feely about that? Why?
It's so funny though that he's like pointing upstairs and she's like, what? Like, does he want me to go put on a mask? And she puts it on and he's like even more mad. Oh my god, I would have loved to see that.
Okay, so there's an update and it says, why is everyone suggesting my grandfather has a foot fetish? If that's true, also wear socks forever. OMG. Update number 2. Why are there so many suggestions of you telling me to make an OnlyFans account for my feet?
You can make money.
Update number 3. Out of sheer curiosity, should I open an OnlyFans account? There's one more update. Clearly she had a lot to say.
Exactly.
So it says, so I have decided against doing one since I don't really know my ways around cyber security and everything. But to answer a few general questions.
God.
My entire family is from Germany and we have a pretty lax view on how to dress, mostly for just dressing appropriately. My family isn't religious, with me being atheist and my grandma being agnostic, for example.
Okay.
Number 3. Yes, my dad has that fetish. I stumbled on his Insta and he was pretty open about it. Hope you had a nice laugh about the situation.
Wait, so I wonder.
Time out. If she found out her dad has a foot fetish, could that have come from the grandpa?
Exactly. Or could the grandpa like know of the dad's fetish and be like,
and now I need to be overprotective of my granddaughter.
Yes.
Because I don't want, like, whether that be
people
like her.
Him, whatever. He was
exactly.
like kink shaming, whatever.
Oh my god.
Oh my god. Okay. So this was like obviously funny to us.
So just to make it clear, right? Like she answered in the question.
Yeah.
She's like, it's not a religious thing.
No.
Like my family's not really religious.
Yeah, they're
I'm not either.
Mm-hmm.
It's not a cultural thing. We're from Germany.
And we're pretty
we
chill.
Just dress normal. We dress appropriately. Like we don't cover up. So it's not religious. It's not cultural.
Yeah.
Okay, just to throw that out there.
Now I'm like, oh, hey, Grandpa, I understand you. You know what I mean? Like, if the grandpa knows that the dad has a foot fetish,
yeah,
you know, either one, the grandpa could have it,
or he's more aware about it now.
Yeah, and he's like, wait a minute, how do I protect my granddaughter?
Yeah,
from people like this? But look,
okay, wait. Okay, so I just remember something. Okay, there was a video out there about, you know, somebody having a foot fetish, okay? And they were making like a video interview. And he was talking to this magazine and they were videotaping him like a normal day to day. He was just like, sometimes when I'm just at the grocery store and I see some flip-flops and I see their feet, I just can't help myself. And it literally showed
to do what?
Hold on. They literally showed the video with him bending down and kissing the woman's feet.
Absolutely not.
And the lady jerked her feet back, and if he didn't like stumble back, she was literally about to like
that's
kick him
assault.
Literally. So I do understand, like, if he's thinking about it like that way, I could understand.
Maybe he is thinking like, hey, I don't want something to pop off right here, and then what am I supposed to do, right? Yeah. Something like that. Because at the end of the day, okay, like, whatever, everybody has their thing. If you're into feet, okay, awesome, great for you, that's your thing. But stay over there. Like, just because you have a foot fetish, that doesn't mean that you're gonna, it's like anything. Like, if you're being a perv, you know what I mean? Like, just don't.
So in other words, like, we understand the concern.
Yes.
Yeah.
But I don't know, what do you think?
But the question was, am I the asshole for laughing?
No,
I don't think she was the asshole.
No, absolutely not. Even the grandma came in.
I mean, yeah, she was laughing.
So seductive. Because, I mean, I guess the grandma kind of knows.
Yeah.
But I understand, I guess, if the grandpa, again, it's like worried about protecting his granddaughter. I get you, Grandpa. Now, if you're doing it because you have a feet thing, Grandpa,
that's another
check
story.
Yourself. Check yourself. But this was a funny one. This is a funny one. But yeah, this was our Damascus episode. Again, we wanted to remind you guys, and we want to encourage you guys to just be the same everywhere you go.
Yeah.
To make sure that your relationship with the Lord is solid everywhere you go. Do not put on a mask you know, it's like going to, I love going to the Dynamo game. And it's not like I'm going to put on the Dynamo the Dynamo jersey just whenever I go to the Dynamo. But then when I'm not at the stadium, I root for, I don't know, the Dallas team. In the same way, like if you're going to, you know, walk with Christ, make sure that you're walking with him all the time.
Yeah.
Whether you're around a group of people who are in your same beliefs, that all of you guys follow Christ, or if you're in a group of people who don't, remember, you are the salt and light everywhere you go.
Amen.
So, DeMaskus, this was this episode.
Keep the same energy.
Keep the same energy.
And make sure you're doing it for the right reasons.
Yep.
Yeah.
And we'll see you on the next episode. Bye.